Hello and welcome to our show. AI is accelerating. Curriculums are finding it hard to keep up. Anxiety is rising and attention spans are shrinking. And amongst all this, education is still having a very important role to play of enlightening minds, of making sure that people are still grounded and connected to their roots, and at the same time being creative and exploring new opportunities.
Right.
Today with us we have Simerjeet Singh here. Simerjeet is one of India's most sought after motivational speakers and leadership coaches. He's worked with some of the world's top organizations, he's worked with teams, he's also worked with a lot of schools and educational ecosystems, and he's always been passionate about education. So Simerjeet, can you tell me a little bit about this? Like, you're working with corporates, and how come this passion for education?
Kunal, thank you so much for having me. And I think it comes from my DNA. My mother was a teacher. I'm the son of a teacher, 35 years.
Wonderful.
I saw her getting ready every morning, juggling with household duties. And I call her my warrior in the sari. She used to put on her sari every morning and dash to college. And I saw that commitment in her. I still, till date, meet her students from across the world who fondly remember her as K. Paul Madam, and the difference she made in their lives. And she was also a great teacher at home.
Wow.
I've seen up close the influence a good teacher can have. I grew up around mark sheets and red pens and helping her marking and so many things. And I also feel, having devoted 20 years of my life, dare I say, I'm a teacher myself in my own way, a coach, a speaker. I'm also essentially trying to add value to my audiences. And the reason why I'm most passionate about talking about school education and teachers and teacher motivation and school leadership is because I feel this is the root that strengthens society. It is not our GDP growth, which is going great, by the way. It is not how much the stock market has risen. It is not the prices of gold or silver. It is what are we doing with the time spent in the classroom. And let's say you have 35 children in the classroom and you have 1 hour. You're not just spending 1 hour, you're spending 35 hours altogether, right? You're using up 35 hours of society. Are those hours being well used? Would those children be prepared to face the world we are stepping into? And it's a very interesting world in the sense that you mentioned AI already. A lot is changing. That's where the passion and the concern for education comes from, I believe.
So, the current state of the education system, what do you feel about this? Like, do you think it's working? Do you think there is something which is good about it and there is something which is not working?
Of course. I mean, if I speak about the Indian education system, we have produced some brilliant minds, CEOs of large organizations, and you look up everywhere across the world, our children, products of this education system have been widely successful. At the same time, I feel there is tremendous room for growth, and it's about time we adapt because we inherited a system which comes from the industrial age mindset, standardization, uniforms, all of those things, rote memorization, and uniformity in grading and in exams and all that, to a world which is very dynamic, and we need to change and adapt, and creativity, entrepreneurship. All of those skills need to come into school curriculums now, not 10 years from now. Most of the kids I observe, Kunal, and I observe a lot of them, including my own, are learning things which have real life application, not from school, but from social media and Instagram and those influencers or at home. They're picking up those skills and they're like, why don't we, how does the stock market work? They're very curious, this lot. They want to get rich quickly and they want to be influencers and buy private jets and whatnot. They will drive our country forward. I'm very enthusiastic about this generation. But the question is, they are our captive audience for a good 6-8 hours every day. If you add the commute also. That's a big chunk of someone's life, of a young person's life who should be getting adequate sleep. 6 to 8 hours is a long time. And I feel parents, no matter how hard we try, we don't have enough time or the space or the wherewithal or the ability or the temperament to do what school is doing. So school is essential, and it's done a great job so far. And it's time to change, and it's time to adapt, and it's time to upgrade, and it's time to see what new job opportunities are out there. What are the skills of the future? When I was in grade 6th now, and perhaps you can relate with this, the first computer came, and our school was, thankfully we had access to, it was not even MS Basic, it was, I don't remember, Altair 2000 or something. It looked like a big typewriter with a small screen.
Yeah.
We had to take off our shoes, our socks, and the room was air conditioned.
Yes.
Well, it was like going to NASA or something, right? What a luxury air conditioning was back in that day. And I looked at the computer and I fell in love. And I didn't study technology, but I've always had this tech skill thing, and it served me well during my hospitality career because I was good at IT. My bosses were typically not good at IT. So I could get my leave approved whenever I wanted. But thanks to, and those are, teachers, we need to ask this question now. What are the skills which will be most useful 5 years from now? Are they getting time to explore those skills or not, right? How to start a company? How does basic accounting work? How does basic fundraising work? How can a math teacher connect fundraising with mathematics, right? How can a social studies teacher connect history with the leadership lessons or real life lessons, things like that? We need teachers who are very good at what they do, and who are passionate and committed. And I'm super excited that we have the opportunity to have people like that in the system.
That's wonderful. Let's take it from the top. So, uh, for the education to really work, I think it has to flow from the top.
Absolutely.
So obviously, curriculum is one thing, but when it comes to the schools individually, the visionaries, the school leaders, the principals, what are the kind of things that should be expected of them, and what can they do as school leaders to ensure that the organization, the educational institute that they are running,
Right.
is fostering that kind of environment for the students and the teachers and people who are working within that organization?
That's a great question. And I feel, as you rightly pointed out, they set the note from the top. And you need to, and I say this to school leaders and principals, lead, don't just manage. A lot of us are managing while we think we are leading. We're just managing. And if you're just looking at attendance or exam results or how many students got through this, got through that, you're just looking at the metrics, and you're managing the status quo. To lead means go in the system, go to the heart of it, right? Have more meaningful conversations, disrupt more, automate more, right? Reduce the workload of your teachers. So keep the focus on the main thing. Say out loud what the main thing is, right? Let there be no confusion about what the main thing is. The main thing should be the main thing. Events and other things should not take place of the main role of why students are there, are to grow into better human beings, right? So leaders have a huge role to play in offering that clarity, leading by example, in setting the right climate. I often say leaders are like you're like the thermostat, right? And the people in the room, the people who are following you are like thermometers. You set the temperature, they record it. So
Yes.
you have to ensure that it's the right kind of climate in your school, that people that you leave an imprint on them, and it starts with you. Are you normalizing alternate careers or not? If one of your alumni was a chef, can you invite him and give a talk to your students? Say, hey, you can also grow up and be a chef. Look at this guy, he became a chef. Or look at this guy, he became a graphic designer, or he runs a social media company, or he went to the armed forces, etc., etc. We need to tell children that there's a world outside of science and medicine, and with due respect to STEM subjects. We need science, technology, engineering, mathematics, definitely. But you, my friend, you argue a lot. You could be a lawyer, right? So that message that alternate careers can exist, that has to come from the top. And there's so many messages. People at the top, stop just managing and start leading, please.
So setting the tone, setting the temperature right, and fostering that sense of culture and that sense of having that kind of creative freedom.
Absolutely.
So,
Let me give you talk about
yes.
creative freedom. Let me give you an example. Many schools, I have seen these days, what is happening during the annual functions is that there is a pre-recorded audio track running. The students are on stage and they are lip syncing to it. Now, that is so that because there'll be 2,000 people and there'll be a chief guest, so that there is no embarrassments happen on the day or no tech glitches happen on the day. But it's through failures and stumbles and fumbles that we learn. If this message comes right from the top, that no, we don't need pre-recorded tracks. We'll do the best we can with on the spot what children can, how much they can rehearse and do their best. If that is coming from the top, it suddenly becomes acceptable to everybody. So huge power in school leaders.
Yes, I agree. I completely agree. I mean, you have to let the children make their mistakes. Otherwise, the scope of learning shrinks.
Right.
So let's now get down to the second level, and let's talk about the teachers who are working in these educational institutions. What do you see their role, what their traditional role has been, and how they can make sure that they can provide their students the right environment?
I love this question. The traditional role has been information providers. Come in, open chapter number 3, let's go to that page number, you stand up, you start reading. It's like, that's how it's been.
Rote
And, rote learning. And my job is to come in, have everybody read the chapters, etc., etc. And now, from information providers to experience creators, can I have a storytelling session right in the classroom? Can I give an assignment to my students, say, okay, you're going to open a cafe. What will the radio ad be like? What will be the TV ad look like? Can you create a poster for your cafe, right? Outside the curriculum, can I be more creative with how I teach? That's what is required more from teachers. To teachers, I say this. I don't know if you chose teaching or if teaching chose you. I don't know. Whether teaching was your first choice or it was you ended up as a teacher. But nevertheless, you have immense power. You walk into that classroom, you're responsible for that one class that can either add value or be counted for nothing. Whatever your circumstances, whether you chose the profession or the profession chose you, please do full justice to it. Because I think alongside medicine and our judiciary and our police forces, this is one of the most important jobs. Maintaining law and order in society and educating the society, this is one of those very important jobs. So passion for what you do, respect for what you do, understanding the impact of how you carry yourself, your moods. I have kids telling me typically what day ma'am was in a good mood and what day ma'am wasn't in a good mood. Happens to all of us, but we have to be mindful that if I am not in a good mood, it'll probably have effect on the young minds also. I have to be mindful of that. So we all go through bad patches, so I could take 5 minutes and just reset and come back in. But to understand that I have immense power that I'm exercising, to be responsible for that, and to not just take it as another job. You see, if you just wanted another job to make money, there's plenty of options out there. This job comes with huge responsibility. As Superman used to say, with great power comes
great
responsibility.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. But I mean, having said that, I mean, passion and everything is extremely important.
Right.
Being creative and being focused at what you're supposed to be doing, mindful of that. But I think there's a lot of resistance from the circumstances also. A lot of teachers end up complaining that it's probably the management is not fostering that kind of environment, or sometimes just the teachers get demotivated because they're also human. So how can they deal with those kind of things?
I think it's a genuine concern, what you pointed out, and teachers alone cannot do the magic. They are part of that entire ecosystem of the stakeholders, parents, the students themselves, school leadership, and the teachers and the society as a whole. Where is the respect for teachers gone, by the way? I mean, we used to have immense respect for our teachers, and I see it disappearing now. And of course, you'll have a bunch of teachers who are disappointed because they walked into this profession knowing that this is a profession that is valued a lot in society, but it's changing the dynamics. Parents, we need to get rid of our consumer mindset. This is not a Wi-Fi connection that if it doesn't work and you can, I will switch or we'll complain. I mean, it's much more complicated than that. You can't just act as a consumer of goods and services all the time. Of course, you bought the infrastructure, you're paying for the air-conditioned buses and the classrooms and all that. But as far as teaching goes, it's a much more complex thing, and your support, your belief in the teacher, so many things, your support and your understanding of the circumstances is required. And at the same time, thank you, Kunal, for pointing this out. I think the onus is on the leadership also to ensure that if you're keeping the main thing or not, right? And the main thing is teaching. If your teacher is busy half the time in registers and paperwork and all of those things, of course they're going to be demotivated. So bring in technology, bring in assistants, bring in automation, bring in all the systems so that a teacher has so much free time to do nothing else but teach and have fun with the children.
I think the teachers need time to be creative. They need time to think of new ways to engage the children. And see, this is another thing that I wanted to talk about is, in this world of shrinking attention spans, how can teachers find the right kind of tools to engage the students?
Yeah, one of the best things would be for every teacher to start an Instagram account and start publishing reels. And the next thing they'll have is a lot of their students would be following them. But no, jokes apart, on a serious note, I think storytelling is a tool which is not used often, but it's a very powerful tool. It catches the attention of young people. You all have to learn, whether you like it or not, the art of being a good storyteller. Voice inflection, your body language, your choice of words, you create that excitement in the classroom. We had a teacher back in primary school, I remember still, and I've spoken about him in other videos. He used to teach history, but also had a storytelling session. And we all used to attend his class because we wanted to listen to the story afterwards. So it's something that you will enjoy personally. Storytelling is one. More recent examples, try to incorporate that, into your teaching methods. So kids can relate with what's happening in the real world. I think we need more younger people also to come into the profession. I've seen that whenever a young person chooses to become a teacher, they are more in touch with the times, and kids are more receptive. So this age gap needs to narrow down, and that will only happen when we encourage more young people to be teachers as well. I often do this trick question to students. I said, how many of you would want better teachers in your classroom? All hands go up. All hands go up. I want better teachers in my classroom. My next question is, okay, how many of you would like to be a teacher yourself? One or two hands go up, right? We need to sit down as a society as a whole, intellectuals, policymakers, all of us, to figure out what went wrong. Why do our young people not want to be teachers anymore? What's wrong? Are we not paying them well enough? Hello? Are we paying them well enough or not? Have we dumped on them 20 different responsibilities in addition to teaching? And we have to be mindful, most of the teachers in India are female teachers, and they have households to take care of also, and children at home, and so many other responsibilities as well. Are we mindful of those things as school leaders as well? Are we designing flexibility in the system? Those are the things we need to ensure so that we can get the maximum within the constraints. And I know there are constraints, whether it is the regulatory authorities, whether it is expectations of parents in terms of how much marks. And this is one thing, very important thing, and I hope you bring this up. Marks are not equal to success. And we need to kill this thing that if a student scores high on an exam, that means he's successful or she's successful. It's just one parameter, and we need to look at other parameters also.
And I think this is more true in this current day and age, where there is a plethora of careers to choose from. There is a different variety of things that a person can do. So now, coming to the next layer of the system, I want to talk about parents. Now, parents want what is best for their child.
Parents want everything.
But like you said, between these, the merit list and the marks, and what they feel their child should do, how can parents encourage the children to be able to explore? I think that is very important.
I'll start on a lighter note. If every teacher needs a certification to be a teacher, every parent should also get a certification before they end up having kids. I mean, I've seen, and I'm sure you've seen that too. I'm sure our viewers have also come across 30-year-old couples, or couples in their late 20s who barely manage to put themselves together, and they have now these two young ones to take care of. And without proper guidance, I think it becomes very challenging, because you can't undo some of the mistakes that you make. That's the challenge here, Kunal. With corporate clients, when I work, if things don't go well in one quarter, you can recover in the next quarter. A child, if you leave a bad imprint on them for 6 months, they'll probably stay on the poor thing for the rest of their life. So parents, I think we need to equip ourselves before we step into the role of parenting, and not be too serious all the time. Nature has given you it's not a race. I mean, Indian parents are like, okay, in the delivery room, go, right? Run, bhag beta bhag. So it's very competitive. This is a play school, and I go there to drop. I used to go there to drop my daughter, and I see this scene in the morning, and it's stayed with me ever since. A child is dressed up as a tape recorder, fancy dress competition.
Okay.
The poor thing is wrapped in layers of sellotape.
Oh my God.
It's that styrofoam and sellotape, and he looks interesting. He probably might win, but he's suffocating and he's crying, and he's not comfortable with it. Why does everything have to be a competition? If it's a dance, it's competitive. If it's a speech, it's competitive. Not everything is a competition. Sometimes just showing up is good enough. Teach your child the ability to just show up, be a part of the team, even if you were not the main player, even if you did not score all the goals, be a part of the team. That's sufficient. So to parents, I'll say, all of you enroll yourself in meditation classes, please. And learn more about parenting and being about child development as much as you can, and be more mindful of everything, everything.
The world is changing, and I cannot ignore the elephant in the room, that is
Yeah.
AI, of course.
AI, yes.
AI,
We are not AI characters. We are real touch.
and of course there's now distraction from all these different social media platforms and screens. Kudos to Australia for being one of the first countries to ban social media for
Oh, yes.
kids up to the age of 16. I
True.
think that is a great move, and I hope that more countries follow.
Yeah.
But as parents at home, what can we do? Because
Don't give them the
trying
iPad
to,
while you're having
yeah.
dinner.
But I think holding them back and forcing them now out of those habits is a little more difficult. So what else can work?
Yeah. So first of all, if you want to have a conversation, and the couple is out for dinner, and you want to have a conversation, the kid is bothering me, give him the cocaine. No, give him the. You wouldn't give the child cocaine, right? But you'd give him the iPad.
You do.
Right? And that's probably as addictive as that thing. So if it's already happened, maybe be more patient now to undo it. Everything takes time, and be more patient to undo those things, and understand that they are now used to that level of stimulation. If you're trying to undo the damage that might already have happened to a child, understand that they are used to that level of stimulation. Anything below that graph of stimulation would be boring for them. So figure out other activities that could be as stimulating or more stimulating, but are not digital. Sports, fishing, hiking, trekking, camping, and they might cry and howl the first time they don't want to do it. They want to go back to the device, but once they see the stars in the sky, and you probably have them hooked on those sort of experiences, cooking, dancing, and other sort of hands-on activities that are away from the screens. So it's very important, because these devices are addictive. This lifestyle is very addictive, and I was reading recently that Indian youngsters are leading a lifestyle where they'll not be fit for a lot of jobs because of the lifestyles that they're leading. And the diet, the intake, we have to be very careful about that. You are not pampering a child by letting them have a bag of chips every day, right? So you have to be mindful and aware yourself also about all of these things, about salt intakes and sugar intakes and energy drinks, and Red Bull does not give you wings. And yeah.
But I think what you say is very much on point, because things like involving the children in cooking, or household chores, folding their own clothes, managing their own cupboards, these are basic life skills as well. They're not only taking you away from screens, but in the longer run, I think they're equipping the child for a better future.
But let me pause you there for a second. Even our parents told us this will be good for you in the long run, and we did not follow. It's only in my 40s that I'm trying to, preach to all of you all of this, but I've done my own share of mistakes. I've had my dad knocking on my door to asking me to get up, or I've had my dad trying to convince me the power of a good breakfast, and I would ignore that and would end up to my classroom without having breakfast, and then realizing by lunchtime why I'm having a headache. Those things make a lot more sense now, but I think we all have to go through our cycles of learning, but it's important that we learn.
Very true. So coming now to the most important part of this equation, this is the student. Obviously, when the students are younger, they don't have that much choice as to what is being taught to them and thing. But now that, let's say, when a student is more aware, what can students do now to stay relevant in the coming times?
Try little entrepreneurial experiments, I would suggest. Can you, like kids, I don't know, in the West, they do these lemonade stands. I don't know, can kids in India, could you be freelance graphic designer if you have 2 months, right? See how to make money, right, at an early age. Sell a product, a service, something that you can do. And what it does is you shed your inhibitions, you learn marketing, you learn so many of the skills that you will need in life that you're probably going to pick up the hard way in your 40s, by the time you get to your 40s. Is this something you can do? That is one, run a small entrepreneurial venture. My second suggestion would be internships and shadowing opportunities. if your parents are friends with a local doctor, and can you shadow them for 2 days to see what their life is like? Can you just hang around and see how many hours does he put in? What does he have to deal with? What is the life of a doctor like? Or, for example, a lawyer or engineer or a motivational speaker, social media manager, etc., etc. Let them see the real world. We need to pull them out of the classrooms as much as they can, and young people can do this on their own. Sign up for part-time jobs, internships, shadowing opportunities, volunteer work, non-profit work. Undertake that as much. Organizing events, whether it's MUNs or things like that. You go and ask for money to sponsor, you ask for sponsorships from local businesses, you conceptualize an event, you run an event, you develop skills that are not taught in the classroom. So I urge you to develop skills which are not taught in the classroom. Try to log into Canva and see, can you create a customized Happy New Year message for your parents? And then share it with your parents and say, hey, that'll be 500 rupees. You can send this to all your friends as a customized message. But see how money works. It's very important that the money block, Indian middle class has had a major money block. And you know what the money block is? That money is evil. Evil people have it. Oh, he's rich, he's evil. He's made money by some unfair means. It's black money or something like that. Money was equal to bad. We need to do away with that notion that not only bad people have money, good people also have money, and money can be used to do good things too, right? Our youngsters need to fall in love with running enterprises and non-profits and things like that. Yeah.
And like you said, money is not all bad. It's about how you use it. And this also brings me to the very important aspect that I think parents should also normalize this culture of, like setting up a lemonade stand. I don't know how many Indian parents would have that kind of mindset where they would, happily allow their child to go out and do something like that.
No, if not,
So
yeah. If
I
not,
think,
go out maybe in the
yeah,
comfort of your home or whatever.
wherever you can.
Yeah. And Kunal, I read an article recently. It was about kids who grow up in, if not poverty, but in lack. If they grow up in a lower middle class household, what are skills they develop which really serve them for the rest of their lives? And one of the skills was delayed gratification, right? If my parents were not rich and I wanted to buy an iPhone, everybody has an iPhone, but I don't have an iPhone. You know what I learned? I learned to wait. How important is that? I learned to wait and I say, one day I'll have an iPhone. And 3 years from now, I buy an iPhone. What does that do to my neural system? It trains me that good things take time. What is next? I can buy a car now. I can buy a house now. I can do this, but everything take time. I need to save money, etc., etc. They become creative with their resources, right? They understand the real value of all of these things. So yes, it's very important to have parental support to run these.
You were talking about internships, and I think that's great exposure for young children. You get to see and observe closely, all these different careers that you might not even know about, until and unless you step into them. So that brings me to, what are the other unconventional and alternate careers that the students can experiment with or think about going forward?
Yours sincerely is an alternate career story. Grade 10th, DAV Model School, Batala. Nobody had any expectations from me. I was not one of the teachers' favorite, but somehow turn of events. गाना था उस समय, हारी बाजी को जीतना हमें आता है, वो movie थी, right? I used to listen to that song, work very hard. I don't know, and the stars supported. I was third in the school, in the city,
wow.
and the district.
Excellent.
So my name was there on the pamphlet. Everybody is surprised, even myself and my parents. My principal says, with good intentions, you scored pretty well. I'm admitting you into non-medical. Engineering. So okay, fine. And then my mom came. She said she brought all these physics books for me, and I had to 4 a.m. I had to get up next morning to go study the tuition, and I realized my worst enemy, which was X, was everywhere in physics and chemistry and everywhere. All I could see is X is everywhere, right? And 4 a.m. I was not 4 a.m. in the morning person and to study physics, or when I will launch a sound wave from Earth, how long will it take to hit Mars and come back and blah, blah, blah. Came back home, I confided in my mother. I said, no, this is probably not for me. And she said, okay, that's okay, don't worry. Why don't you explore some other subjects? Let me introduce you to the commerce professor here. That gentleman told me it doesn't matter what subjects you pick, as long as you're in the top 1%. And I picked up a book of accounts and I realized, oh, there is no X here. And I picked commerce, which was not the best choice at that point of time. It was the best choice for me, but not the conventional preferred choice. And then I went into hotel management, and then I picked motivational speaking. We need to normalize alternate careers because there's a lot more beyond medicine and engineering. We need good doctors, we need good engineers, but we also need good chefs, and we need good speakers and writers and authors and painters and social media managers and good people behind the camera and the other magic that they create, and good entertainers and singers and whatnot. So all of those careers are worth pursuing.
So I think the sum total of this entire conversation is that education is not about making employable people. I think it's about fostering creativity. It's about letting the kids explore.
Yep.
It's about giving them the right exposure so that they can make a better decision for themselves. And the onus, like we've already spoken, lies not only on the student, because I think the students themselves at that young age are not exposed to all those kind of things, where we as adults have, the
Right.
life experiences, which doesn't mean that we can be right all the time. But we need to enable that kind of environment as parents, as teachers, and as school leaders and principals to, allow these children to find what is right for them, like you did. And I think your mother did the right thing by letting you take a shot, explore, and understand if this would work better for you or not, rather than outrightly telling you, no, you must.
No, there were no strict stipulations of what I have to pick. I was always given the freedom. I urge all of you also to spend time and coach your children to figure out what they might be very good at, and then help them go into that direction as well. That really matters a lot. And Kunal, I'd just like to say here that we talked about India's demographic dividend quite a lot, right? That we have the largest population of young people in the world. But if we don't educate them right, and we don't educate them well in one go, we'll end up with a huge chunk of our population who are disillusioned and who are unhappy with themselves. So to every teacher, every parent, every policymaker, every principal listening to this conversation, we have a huge responsibility, and let's fulfill that responsibility to the best of our ability.
That's wonderful. Thank you for your time, Simerjeet. It's been a wonderful conversation. I hope the parents and the stakeholders who and the principals, the teachers, whosoever has been listening to this conversation has had some valuable takeaways from this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.